Hi there, beginner coaches. Good morning. Thank you for joining me on day 2 of the 10-day training series where we teach you how to reach your first 10K month. So if you haven't joined us already, this is day 2. And so yesterday what we covered was how to actually go about defining your niche. We won't go through it in detail again today because we went through it yesterday. So make sure you pop on over to that old video in our Facebook Live. Now today what we're going to be talking to you about is pricing and packaging your services with congruency, because a lot of the challenges that coaches and my clients have been coming to me with is, Cal, I've got all this knowledge, I've got all this stuff that I want to share, but how do I know how much to charge? How do I actually put something together? Should I have a smaller package and then have a bigger package from that? Or how much do I charge? People are telling me I should charge $100 an hour. Some people are saying maybe $150. Some people are charging $1,000. Where do I actually sit on that spectrum? So if that is something that you're experiencing, awesome, because we're going to cover all of that this morning. Now, also guys, I want you guys to keep in mind that throughout this video, there will be an opportunity for you guys to opt in and subscribe to our 4-step turning a stranger into a raving fan checklist. So it's a checklist it's a combination of a video, a training video, and a checklist, which I created just yesterday, a couple days ago. And it literally walks you through step by step through the 4 steps that I go through to attracting clients, all the way to nurturing the relationship and then turning them into committed paying clients. So if you want to get your hands on that, make sure you stay to the end of this video and I'll share with you how you can get your hands on that. So guys, I'm just going to quickly pop onto my Facebook page, because the comments that I'm going to be reading from you guys is going to be on my Facebook page because I can't actually see what's on my camera right now. So if you're joining me live, guys, come in and say hello so that I know that you're there. Hi, Tim. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for joining me. Alrighty, team. So let's get into it. How do we actually even put a package together? Now, a concept that I've learned from a mentor of mine, Darcy Smith, so I do attribute this concept to him, is the toll booth method. And it talks about cognitive dissonance. So when it comes to problem solving, guys, know that our role as coaches is first and foremost to solve a problem for the market. And even more than that, as business people, that's what we do every single day. We're getting paid because we solve problems. So if you think about it, I'm just going to stand on this side and hopefully you can see. What I want you to imagine is that where your client is right now is Island A. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. A. And where they want to be is Island C. Now, if you think about it, guys, how does something actually become a problem? Think about it. If let's take a lady who's 10 kilos overweight and she wants to lose 10 kilos. So where she's at right now is she's 10 kilos overweight, right? What makes it a problem? Now, it's a problem for her because she's not where she currently wants to be at. So it's either she's not where she wants to be, or she's not where she expected to already be. Because think about it, if she was already her ideal weight, she's exactly where she wants to be, which means that Island A and C are the same. Alternatively, if say she's already working with a weight loss coach and they've got a plan and a regime to get her from where she is now to her dream body, then she's actually where she expected to be because she's moving along towards Island C. So she doesn't have a problem. But if where she's at right now compared to where she wants to be or where she expects to be are different, then insert problem. This is where we come in. Because people only need us when there's a problem, right? So because this problem is also known as cognitive dissonance. Our brains are problem-solving machines. So the moment that the moment we aren't where we need to be or where we want to be, our brain will do everything within its power to want to close that loop. And what that desire to want to close the loop often manifests itself in the form of pain. So know this, guys. A common objection I get from that clients present to me is they're like, Cal, my market, they just don't have money. And trust me guys, time and money, and we'll go through this in a separate video because we've got a whole video coming up in a couple of days that's purely on handling objections. Now, money and time are not valid objections, because know this, when the pain is great enough, we will always find the time and find the money for the things that are most important to us. Take this for example. Say you've got a toothache, right? And you literally are staying up night and day, and you can't go to sleep because all you can think about is the pain, or getting rid of the pain, or just eliminating the pain, or not thinking about the pain, but all you can think about is the pain. Now, if a dentist said to you, look, I can take that out for you, I can get rid of that pain for you, it's going to cost you $5,000, are you going to find the money to get rid of that pain? Yes, of course, because you can't go on in your life and do anything else until that pain goes away. Just like, I mean, this is a bit of an extreme example, guys, but let's say, someone took this is extreme, but just to highlight the point, someone takes a family member hostage, right? And they're like, I need you to find me $100,000, otherwise I'm going to kill them. Are you going to find the money? Of course, you'll do everything within your power to find the money. How come? Because right now, your family member is not safe, and you want them to be safe because it's a part of our human behavior to want to love, to want to belong, to want to protect our family and friends. And what you want is for them to be home safe, but currently they're being held hostage. Insert problem. Now, if the pain's big enough, we will always find the money and the time for it. So, guys, what I'm hoping that you're taking away from this video so far is don't get sucked in. Do not accept your market's limiting beliefs. They're simply stories that they tell you, because think about it, your buyers don't know how to make great decisions. If they did know how to make great decisions, they probably wouldn't be experiencing the problem that they're currently experiencing, right? Which is why they need you as the expert to help language where they're at now, where they want to be, so that you can actually help them bring language to what their problem really is. Because it's only with the awareness, with language of what's really going on for them, that they can change. You can't change what you don't know, but once you do know, then you've got choice as to whether or not you want to make a different decision. Does this make sense, guys? So check in with me. Oh, I've got 5 people joining me this morning. Hey, Tim. Yes, I went for a run this morning. I'm looking forward to our catch up tomorrow morning. So guys, share with me, what are you taking away from this so far? Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Leanne, for joining me. So guys, what we've got so far is we've got where your client is and the problems where they actually want to be in Island C. Now, when it comes to building a package, guys, if what you're selling is an emotional outcome, and for many coaches in the beginning, what you're selling is an emotional outcome. It's like you want them to have greater confidence, greater empowerment, greater self-belief, for you to step in your true self. I could keep going. And until you can bring some tangibility around it, which is why I find that business, health, relationships are great niches to go into, because you've got something that's measurable at the end of it. But if you don't have a measurable, tangible outcome, that's all good, because what we're going to teach you right now is going to bring tangibility to your products and services, which means that when you teach it to your clients, or you teach it to your market, or you market it, you're going to feel a lot more certainty, and so will they. All right. So Island A, Island C, that's where they want to be. This is where they're at now. Know that for them to get from A to C, they need to go through some stepping stones to get there. Now, what I often recommend to my clients is who you're coaching, or who you market to, is probably you 2 years ago. So since you 2 years ago to you now, you've grown and learned so much stuff and applied so much new learning to your life that you can actually teach all of this stuff. But for us to ever teach anything, we must have frameworks. We must turn our knowledge into frameworks and models so that it becomes easy for people to understand and easy for people to apply. Because if you just talk at people, they're like, this is the response you'll get. They'll be like, and they'll write all this stuff down, and then they'll go away and they'll feel overwhelmed because it's not simple. Tony Robbins says it all the time, complexity is the enemy of execution. So the simpler you can make it, the better. So in our 10K Elite Squad Mastermind, there are 5 clear steps that we take our clients through. And it means, and we apply a model to it. So it means that whenever they feel stuck, they just come back to the model and they're like, where am I on this model? Okay, I'm at this stage. What do I need to do to move from stage 3 to stage 4? And that's exactly the same here. So I'm going to draw an extra box. So what I generally recommend is when it comes to models is you want either 4 stages, 5 stages, or 7 stages. Those numbers generally look well. And the way to go and approach it is you literally brain dump. A good friend of mine once suggested to me, she was like, Cal, go just take a pad of Post-it notes, go on a wall and take a permanent marker and just write down every single learning, model, book, principle, philosophy, everything that you've learned that's helped you to get to where you are now from the moment you decided you wanted the change, and stick it up all on the wall. And by doing this, you have everything all on a wall. And then what you can do is you can start to put them into categories, because everything fits. You will notice over time that there is always a sequence and a methodology to what we do. We're human beings. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Even if you look back at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Tony Robbins' 6 core needs, there are similar themes that fall within each one. So same with what you do, where you were 2 years ago compared to where you were now, you took a series of steps to get there. So what you want to do is you want to bring a framework to what you do, and you want to apply a model to it. Now we're not going to go into this in detail today, but when I say a model, I'm talking about, like, for example, this is a model. Tony Robbins has one where he's got A, B, C, and D. But the purpose of it is to make it visually appealing and very memorable. And also this becomes your IP, because you can actually trademark this, because this is your zone of genius. This is something that you've created, and maybe you've taken ideas from loads of people. All good. But by you bringing 2 new ideas together, you make it something new and you make it yours. And that's what you do by putting a model to it. Does this make sense, guys? So by the end of this, you will have not only have the end in mind of where you know your client needs to go because you've defined your niche, even more than that, you know exactly how you can help them get from A to Island C through these stepping stones. So through your sales calls, when someone actually asks you, or even if you're at a networking event, they're like, okay, great, so you help women lose 10 kilos in 5 weeks. Tell me more. How do you do that? Well, you insert stepping stones. And for them, because think about this, guys, as human beings, we've got an emotional side and a logical side to our brain. Even if you sell the emotional outcome, like, look, I help women feel empowered. I help them feel like they're tapping into their full potential. Yes, emotional outcome, tick. But if the person you're speaking to doesn't see how it logically makes sense, on a conscious or unconscious level, they're going to feel uncertain and they're not going to feel taken care of. So, but by you mapping this out, and if they can see logically how your stepping stones help them get from A to C, it logically makes sense. So the right side and the left side of the brain are both ticked. So they feel taken care of. All right. So guys, I trust that this makes sense. I've got 5 people who have joined me this morning. Good morning, everybody. Come in and say hello and share with me so far what based on what we've taught and talked about this morning so far, what are you guys taking away from it in relation to pricing and packaging your services? Because I want to check in and see how this is relevant for you. I wish on my computer I could see who is joining me. Come in and say hello, team. Hi, Christine. How are you? I'm really looking forward to our interview with you one-on-one next week. I'm so pumped for it. So team, yeah, share with me, how is this, what we've talked about in terms of cognitive dissonance and putting your package together, how is this relevant for you? Is it new? Is it something that you already knew about? Is it adding a new layer of distinction? Share with me. Me too. It's going to be a jam-packed Tuesday next morning. Christine, great point, Cal. I tell my clients all the time that the goal of your marketing is to move clients from, if they're going to work with you, to in their mind, having them trying to work out how they're going to work with you. Yes. So in their mind, so Tim, what I'm taking away from this is, if they're going to work with you, to in their mind, having them try to work out how they're going to actually work. Okay, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm taking away from what you've shared, and thank you for sharing, is that essentially you want to seed in their mind your program. So by the end of your conversation with them, because you've seeded all these stepping stones, when you ask them, so look, how can I help you? For them to reflect back exactly what you've told them already, but in their own words. So it's like your words become their thoughts, which then become their words. And essentially then they start buying into your program. And obviously you've positioned yourself in a way where you're the best person to solve that problem for them. So Tim, is that what you mean? Thank you for sharing. Leanne, you're driving, so not able to post. Learning heaps. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Julia. Good morning. Now, guys, something that I didn't mention that is super important is that between island A and C, I want you to imagine that this problem here, this is actually a tollway. It's a tollway that takes them from where they are now to where they want to be. Now, in the middle of that tollway, guys, is this toll booth. Now, guess who's the toll booth? You. You are the toll booth operator in that toll booth. Now, I want you to imagine that the last time you drove on a toll booth and you went up to a toll booth operator and there was an actual human being in there, what did you do? Now, the last time I went up to a toll booth operator, I wound it down my window, I gave them my money, and I drove off. Now, my question to you guys is, have you ever seen a toll booth operator get out of their toll booth and chase a car down? No, never. Don't worry, I haven't either. How come? Well, because they just don't do that, because you just know as the driver that how it's supposed to be is you wind down your window, you give them your money, and you move forward. But what do you see a lot of salespeople doing? Now, I see a lot of salespeople getting out of their toll booth and chasing their cars down, demanding their money. And for me, that is what has made sales really icky for me for a really, really long time, until I understood this concept. Because guys, if you understand your client's problem so well that you position yourself as the toll booth operator, then what happens is over time, the more that you educate the market, and for example, me creating this training series, guys, I trust that you're cool with me being so open and transparent about it. Me creating this training series is a way for me to position myself as a toll booth operator, because there are questions that the market is coming to me with, and through this video, I'm now educating you about it. So if this is something that you're experiencing, you will be like, wow, Cal, I actually do want perfectly priced packages and services. How do I do that? Well, then what you'll probably do is you'll come up to my toll booth and you'll be like, hey Cal, can we chat? And that's what we want to do for you, is to position you in a way where you understand your client's problems so well that they know that you're the best person to solve that problem. So they come to you rather than you needing to chase them down. And what a great way to do business. So guys, is this new to you? Because I find when I realized this point, I was like, oh my gosh, this like just shifted my complete dynamics around problem solving. So now that we've got you as the toll booth operator and we've stepped out the stepping stones of how you're actually going to help them get from island A to island C, let's talk about pricing your packages. So let's assume you've got a package, it's got 5 steps in it. So I'm literally just this could be your model, guys. It could be a 5-step ladder. It could be something as simple as that. Now, in the back of your mind, as an expert as well, what you want to know is how long generally is it going to take for you to solve that problem for your clients? And from my experience, you probably want to either go for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. So 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It just sounds nicer, because if you're like, look, we go for 91 days. Or you're like, we go for, 4 to 5 weeks. There's uncertainty. So the more certainty you can bring to your programs, the more certainty your market will experience when they're talking to you. So 3 months, 6 months. So I know that our mastermind goes for 6 months, and there are 5 key pillars that we need to take them through throughout that 6-month period. And I even know all my dates. So I know that there are 2 training dates at the start in Jan, and then Feb, there are 2 days, and every other month there is a half-day mastermind. So you need to know these specifics, because if they ask you, you need to know 6 months or 12 months. And pricing. So obviously you want to give the program a name so that you can refer to it. So for me, it's the 10K Elite Squad. So you want to base the name, the title, off the outcome that you're helping them to achieve, because you want to make it inspiring. You could make it, well, let's be honest, people will do more to avoid fear than to move towards pleasure. I just personally prefer to call it something that's based on Island C, because in that way, whenever I refer to it in my videos or whatever it is, I am actually building cognitive dissonance. Because think about it, guys, your clients are already at Island C, and if you're constantly talking about your clients are at Island A, and if you're constantly talking about Island C in the form of your program, and you're building up the vision and what it looks like and the outcomes that you can help them to achieve, you naturally, through your marketing, will build problem and cognitive dissonance and pain for your client. And the more pain there is, the more likely it is that they're going to buy. Okay? So you've got the title, you've got the model, you've got the length of the program, and you also want to break this up into more detail around how it would actually play out over the 6, 8 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And then when it comes to pricing, guys, this is the model that I teach. And everyone's going to be different. This is what I feel like works, and it's worked for me in the past, is to think about how much do you want the program to be in the future. So when you're at a stage where you've had all these pilot participants in the program, they've gone through it, they've got the results. At that point, how much do you think the program is worth? And you set that figure in your mind. So for example, it could be that, let's go an 8-week program, and we want at the end of it to be $3,000. Now, likelihood, guys, is that if you haven't actually taken anyone through that experience and seen the results to know that the program actually works, on some level, you're going to feel uncertain or incongruent charging $3,000, because you're like, well, how do I know that? And if you've never charged $3,000 before, you're going to have cognitive dissonance, right? So what I suggest is, you need to charge what you feel comfortable with. It doesn't matter what anyone else says to you, guys. Someone could say to you, look, I remember when I first started, they were like, Cal, you need to charge a minimum of $150 for your coaching sessions to do justice to the coaching industry. You can't undercharge yourself. And I was like, shit, $150. I've never even asked for that much ever, or being paid $150 for an hour in my life before. If I worked out my hourly rate based on my annual salary when I worked in my corporate job, it was maybe $40 an hour. So I was like, 150? And if you're cool with me sharing, I remember my first sales conversation where I was trying to convert a pro bono into a paying client. I literally just talked at the client for 45 minutes straight, and I took her through my whole program, and then at the end of it, she just looked at me blankly, and then I was like, oh crap, and I was like, literally, I said this to her, I was like, you know what, don't worry about it, you don't have to pay me anything, I just want your feedback, because for me, I had no reference point for having charged that much in my life before. Now guys, my first paying client, gosh, she is such a great negotiator. She was a uni student, and I put it to her, I was like, look, it's $150 per session, and I would recommend we do 6 sessions. And she came back to me and she was like, Cal, that's a bit much for me. How about we do $40? And I was like, $40? Oh my God. Oh my goodness, $40. Okay. And I was like, all right, $60. Because guys, and I was stoked with $60 because she was my first paying client. I was like, woo, someone actually wants to invest in me. And obviously from the and plus she was an awesome client. So I was like, I just want to work with you. So from the $60, I grew it up to, $100, $150, then $500, then $1,000 a month. And it just grew from there. And know this, guys, what I would actually recommend is rather than you charging an hourly rate is because then you're always trading your time for money and you can't leverage your time, is to actually go for, put a dollar figure to the outcome that you're helping them to achieve. Because remember, coming back to here, guys, this is why we explained it in the beginning. When the pain is big enough, people will pay. So a common misconception is that I see, or a common mistake that I see a lot of coaches making is they charge an hourly rate for their services. And because they don't realize that at the end of the day, people pay for results. People pay money for an outcome. Just like the toothache, for me to get rid of the pain, I will pay $3,000, $5,000, whatever it is. This tooth here, okay, my brother chased me around the house when I was in year 5 and it cracked. So we've got a crown over this. I think my mum's invested over $10,000 in this tooth alone. One day I woke up and it was completely shattered and wobbly. Trust me, that day I didn't want to do anything else other than go to the dentist and get that fixed, no matter how much it costed. So know that when you've clearly defined the outcome clearly enough for your client, they will pay a clear outcome and they will actually feel way more taken care of, knowing that if they invest X amount into your program, that they're going to get X return or X outcome. So can I just encourage you guys even more to focus on what Island Sea really looks like for you and your client. If you don't know yet, guys, great. Watch the video from yesterday on defining your niche. Go away and do some more market research. Figure out what that outcome is, because that's what people are actually paying you for. They're paying you to solve a problem, not just to spend time and listen to their problems. Trust me from experience. Awesome. So guys, so far, share with me, what are you guys taking away? What are some key learnings? Rather than me just sitting there passively listening, other than Leanne who's driving at the moment, do get engaged, because we want to make sure that this learning is landing for you. If it's not making sense, trust me guys, I've got so many stories up my sleeve. I can keep going, but I want to make sure that these points are actually landing for you, because these videos at the end of the day, not for me, they're for you guys. So share with me guys, what are you taking away from this? So I'm going to wait for your messages to come up. And as I do, let's recap. So we've got the outcome in mind. We've created a program around it. We've put a model, an actual model, so that you can attach IP to it. You need to know how long the program goes for. And at the end of, say, the 8 weeks, once you've actually gotten the results for your clients, how much would you feel confident charging for the program? So say it's $3,000. Next step is, because on some level you're going to feel incongruent. If you feel congruent with $3,000, oh my gosh, rock forth. Be good with it. Awesome. But if you don't, what I would suggest is you discount this and you do a pilot round. So this is what I teach my clients. You do a pilot round where you offer something that it's at a ridiculously no-brainer, oh my gosh, yes. If I put 10 ideal clients in front of you right now, and if you pitched it to them, their response needs to be like, holy crap, are you serious? That's the response that we want to evoke. Because we just want, because the idea around it, so say for example, from 3,000, we do it for, and I'm making this up, 497. It's like, holy crap, that's a sixth of the price. Yeah, I know. Because the psychology and the thinking around this, guys, is you want to make it a complete no-brainer for the people to want to opt in. And for the right people, you want to invite them into the program. And you want to invest the next 8 weeks or however long your program is. For me, it's 6 months. But you want to invest that time into building glorious, raving fans. Because guys, the best form of marketing is word of mouth. When people actually have the results and they talk about you to their friends and their family and their community and their network, oh my goodness, you are going to get such high quality clients coming your way. So I guess for me, from my personal experience, the belief that I needed to let go of and I needed to drop in order for me to be okay with this was that I needed to be perfect as of day one. And it really encouraged me to be really humble and just a passionate, curious problem solver that goes out into the market, asks questions, interviews the market, gets feedback, is constantly engaging with my clients and my community and being like, what do you need? What's the problem that you're facing? How can we better solve it? So that I could ensure that they actually got to the outcome. And when they got to the outcome, awesome. Then it meant that I'd actually built a really resilient, robust program that genuinely delivered results. And it shifted the focus away from, oh, I deserve to be paid $3,000 to actually, what do my clients need right now? Because I hear so much people say, you charge however much you think you're worth. Now, if you don't think you're worth $1,000, you just need to build up more self-worth. Well, if I'm completely honest, guys, I think the self-worth comes from confidence. Confidence comes from competency. And you only develop competency the more experience you've had working with paying clients and getting results for them. So I have been completely okay with the fact that for our 10K Elite Squad, next year the investment's going to be way high, like 10K, because to even get to your first 10K as a beginner coach is so challenging. There's so much work that needs to be done and there's so much support that we provide. But next year, we're piloting it for the first time in Jan for a ridiculously discounted amount. And I'm so cool with that because I'm building raving fans. I want to make sure that the program works. I know it's worked for me, but I want to make sure that I test it with other people and also that they get the results, because I know that once they do, and if they have an awesome experience, it will all just come back. It's a win-win situation. So the more of a win-win it can be, guys, the more you're going to win in your business long-term. But if you just go out there and you're like, look, I just want to charge 3K just cause, which I did initially with my old niches around Find Your Passion, I felt so incongruent and the sales results reflected that. So you need to sit with an amount that just feels so intrinsically certain and comfortable with you to begin with. Alrighty, team. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys this morning around pricing and packaging your services so that you feel congruent with it every single time. What are you guys learning from it? Because I've got 5 of you watching online at the moment, and you guys aren't engaging. So it tells me that you're either driving like Leanne, or you're just passively listening, which means that you're not consolidating your learning. So do share with me what your key learning is. Now, there is an opportunity, guys, for you guys now to what Jay and I have created, so Jay's my VA, what we've gone away and created is a 4-step checklist for you in terms of teaching you how to turn a stranger into a raving fan. Now, it's got a training video plus the actual physical step-by-step guide that I apply in my business to help me turn leads into really ideal, committed, paying clients. And if you want to know how to do that as well, all you need to do is type in the comments below, yes, please. Jay or myself will reach out to you and send you the link so that you can get your hands onto that training. It's gold. It's stuff that I've been applying this whole year. It works. It's super simple. I literally step you out. Step 1, do this, and then you got to tick it. Step 2, do this. So, because I know that if it's complicated, people just won't do it. So it's super, super simple, super clear. So if you want to get your hands on that, guys, make sure you type yes, please, and Jay or myself will reach out to you. Now, in tomorrow's training video at 8 a.m., it's going to be about how to stand out as an expert. So it's all around branding, all about how to be noticeable and how to become seen in your marketplace once you've identified what niche it is that you're actually helping. So I look forward for you guys to join me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'll speak to you guys then. Bye, team. And obviously, if you've got any questions, post in the comments below. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking with you guys then. Bye, team.